Right now, we turn our attention to the aftermath of Hurricane Helene over the weekend. The death toll last I saw, and obviously this is a fluid number, rose to 227. The question is whether or not FEMA is helping or hurting the cause. They are obviously slow. As we discussed in the first segment, that is the nature of the existence of the organization. But some are suggesting that FEMA seems to be unprepared for this moment in time. Both of those things can be true at the same time. FEMA can be helping in some situations and hurting in other situations. Obviously, the local community organizations, the charitable organizations have done an incredible job all across the affected area. The federal government, maybe not so much. Don't necessarily believe the rumors that you hear online, which is why we're trying to get as close to the situation as possible. We were blessed to be joined last week. Steve Antell called us, and he is from Fairview, North Carolina, or lives in Fairview, North Carolina. He has I think he has a base. He told me this story, and I've forgotten the details, but he has a base here in Nashville, or has been in Nashville. So he made the decision to make us a priority to call to try to get some truth from ground level. Fairview, for those who don't know, is between Chimney Rock and Asheville. It's a suburb of Asheville. And Steve joins us on the Murphy Show hotline today to give us an update on everything that's going on. Steve Antell joins us on the Matt Murphy Show. Steve, good afternoon. I hope you're well.
I'm doing okay today, staying busy.
I bet you are. Just give us an update since we last talked about what's going on in your field of vision there in Fairview.
I've got a lot of information, and I wrote some notes, and if I get wound up, just slow me down, okay?
No, man, you're good. You're good.
So, I spent 20 years as a Metro Nashville police officer. I started out my career here in Asheville, North Carolina, then I went to Nashville, and then I moved back here a couple of years ago. So, but I spent the bulk of the last 20-something years in Nashville, Tennessee. I want to thank you and your listeners so much. When we did the first interview and the Venmo information went out, I've had over $3,500 come in, and I wanted to tell a little bit about what that money's being spent for and how myself and my family are using these funds and what we're doing. First, I want to give you an overview of the situation now here in Fairview. So, they are, at any time between now and the next couple of days, they're going to probably switch from search and rescue mode to recovery mode. What that means for our community is a good thing and a bad thing. The bad part is that means that the 100-plus people that are on their missing list that they are looking for are most likely going to be presumed dead. So we would expect the death count to climb dramatically once they do that. The good part about the switchover, though, is that we will be able to go directly into the affected areas, which are still roadblocked off. And the reason they've got that area blocked off is because they do not want anything to disturb the dog scents. They are running grids over all of that area, and it's about a 20-square-mile area. And they have it gridded off, and they are going over and over and over with the dogs trying to, find deceased people. I will go ahead and go out on the limb and say that I will probably guess that the bulk of the people that are on that missing list, if they haven't been located by now, are probably deceased. So they are continuing that effort. They are switching out crews today. They are taking other crews are coming in and replacing the other ones that are burned out, both the dogs' noses and the people. So we have a new set of teams that are up there today. We are still taking in supplies. We're starting to store supplies for 3, 4, or 5 weeks down the road. We are starting to store supplies for cold weather that is not here yet, but will be coming. In our area, we still have no power, water, or cell, but the power companies and the cell are trying mightily to try and get everything back online. The water is going to be a long-term problem. They're saying they can't even give us an estimate. So with that all said, I wanted to give you a brief overview of what we're doing. And I say we, I mean myself, my family, my immediate family, and our church. So what I'm doing is, if you think about this in terms of a military operation, we have forward operating bases. Those are Spring Mountain Community Center and the Fairview Volunteer Fire Department. Those are the bases that are closest to that sealed off, devastated area, and they are also closest to the people that may not be in that sealed off area but are coming down out of the mountains and needing supplies. So then we have our rear operating bases, which are our church, which is about 20 miles away, Fellowship Baptist Church in Hendersonville, North Carolina. And we also have a couple of other large churches in the area that are also doing the same thing we are, but on a larger scale. They have forklifts and they have the ability to unload tractor trailers and so forth. And so what I do every day, I start out, I leave my house, I go to the forward operating bases, I ask them what list of things they need for that specific day. And I spend my day operating between the forward and the rear. I get the list, I go to the back rear bases, I check and get what I can for the lists from those. If it's something that I can't find at any of the rear operating bases, the donation bases, then I go directly to the stores and I buy the stuff with the money that's being donated. I'm also doing gasoline supplies back and forth every day to the forward operating bases, so I pick up their empties. When I come to town, I fill them up, and when I go back in the afternoon, I drop the gas off. A lot of unusual things that we're running into, and I'll just give you a few examples. Bees. So that I had a request from both forward operating bases. We got a bee problem. We got a yellow jacket problem because they've been displaced. Their nests have been displaced by all of this. So they're running into these swarms. So I had to quickly find as many cans of that as possible. The shoes for our fire department and our search and rescue people are wearing out. Yesterday I went and bought 8 pair at Walmart of work boots. They had some boots that had been donated earlier in the day, but they were the wrong sizes. They were too small. So they needed like 11, 12, and 13. So I went and bought those. Another odd request, they needed the little propane camp stove tanks. I was going to buy them, but I have a network of people that are bringing supplies up, and I had another balloon guy, hot air balloon pilot, that's been helping us, Roger Clark out of Greenville. He says, I can lay my hands on 120 of those. And within the day, those were moved from an hour away to our church, and within another hour or two, I had those at the forward operating bases. So these are the kinds of things we're constantly putting out fires, and we're trying to do it immediately. So the help that your people, and I say your people, but friends of mine too that are donating through Venmo, just allows me to just on the spot, day after day, get help directly to the very front line, bypassing all of the bureaucracy that goes on with these other, agencies. Am I going too fast?
No, Steve, you're providing incredible frontline information. I mean, just whatever you've got, I don't want to get in your way. I've got questions, but I don't want to get in your way.
Okay. So let me talk a little bit about our out-of-state. So in addition to operating in the way that I just described to you, as I'm driving and as I'm within cell service, I'm also coordinating shipments from out of state that are coming here. I have a network of hot air balloon people. I have a network of friends in Middle Tennessee that have trucks and trailers. They all want to help, but they need to know where to go. So what I'm doing is I'm coordinating those shipments coming in from South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee to our church, or to, if it's like tomorrow, I got 2 tractor trailer loads coming in and we can't unload them at our church. So I'm diverting them over to the Anchor Church in Hendersonville, and they have forklifts and pallet jacks and so forth. And then we can move the stuff from there to our church and then onward to the front line part. But I'm on the phone and text constantly all day long with all these friends. I needed if I don't give them a shout out, I got Roger Clark out of Greenville, South Carolina. I got Aviation Ranch, Tom Warren and his wife out of Cordele, Georgia. I got Luke Van Camp, who's a balloonist out of Tallahassee, Florida. He's here right now at this moment unloading an entire flatbed tractor trailer at the church. they're bringing generators, they're bringing very specific things that I need on a day-to-day basis. And I got Charlie Ray Howell out of Mount Pleasant, Tennessee. He's bringing his racing car carrier, a 48-foot trailer. They've been taking donations in Mount Pleasant and Columbia, where I used to live, and they're bringing that stuff here this week.
Let me ask you this, and our guest is Steve Antell. He lives in Fairview. He was in Nashville for 20 plus years or thereabouts as a Metro Nashville police officer. He's now, are you quote unquote retired, Steve? Is that a fair?
I am retired, okay. And now I deliver for Amazon and Instacart. Okay. That's all I do, and I ride these roads normal.
And he's just giving us an on-the-ground report as to what exactly is happening there. So you described at the beginning the no-go zones and explain again, because there are people that are suggesting that the feds are setting up perimeters and they're not allowing people to go back to their houses. Have you experienced that?
All right, I can speak to directly what I know here in Buncombe County that I've encountered. So there are still areas that they don't want people to go. There are still homes that they don't want people to go back to, but that is because of structural danger and or utility damage and or the difficulty of accessing the property safely. They don't want more people getting hurt. The area in Fairview is still sealed off, like I said, because they're still actively searching for bodies, and they don't want anybody going up in there. There are authorized family members that they are letting through the checkpoint each day, but they have those family members have specific instructions they have to follow.
Real quick, we've also gotten reports, and I need to get these out because you're the man that knows. Yep. We're getting reports that donations coming from churches, donations coming from, quote, non-approved places are not being accepted, that FEMA's turning them away. Have you found any of that to be true?
That is not true to my knowledge at all. Okay. We have complete freedom of movement. I hear all the time people saying, don't come to Western North Carolina, don't come, don't bring stuff. That is not true. People are bringing stuff every day. My people are bringing stuff every day. There are no checkpoints or road checks or any of that. If you have stuff and you want to donate, the only thing we're asking, and the authorities are asking, is that you coordinate ahead of time with specific people and or organizations here on the ground. We want you to come in. We want you to drop the stuff off at the designated spot that you have selected. And then we want you to leave, unless you're like a nurse or something and you want to stay and do volunteer work. So no, that part's not true. Going along some of these rumors. Okay, the FEMA $750 stuff. Okay, I submitted my FEMA claim, and I submitted it in 4 different categories. I was immediately put as eligible and have already received the funds for the $750. They categorize that as miscellaneous, and they're giving that out as just an immediate help just to get you through whatever's directly in front of you. The other categories on my application are still listed as pending. I don't know what that means, and I don't know how long that takes. So that part is actually, as far as it is true, that's all they're giving out right now, but I have a feeling there's going to be more on the back end. What else? The restrictions on private helicopter operators, that has been an issue. And I know people in the aviation community, and one of the stories went national about how a guy rescued a couple out in Lake Lure and got threatened with arrest over it. That actually was not FEMA that did that. That was the local fire assistant chief. And he, to my knowledge, has been terminated.
But, wait. I don't want to gloss over that, because that was a big story. So the suggestion was that there was a helicopter pilot that was trying to do good work, and for some reason the assistant fire chief decided that he was going to put a stop to it and wouldn't let him go back to get another person, according to the helicopter pilot. And you're saying that person has been relieved of their duties?
That's what I heard this morning.
Okay. But it was a local guy. It's a kind of a one-off.
It was a guy that came in, and he had actually gotten permission from the FAA office out of Statesville, North Carolina, and they had basically, the people there at that command post had told him, do whatever you got to do to help people. Well, he went out here, and he went to Lake Lure, and he saw the woman. He picked her up. He took her and dropped her off at the Lake Lure headquarters, and he was going to go back and get the husband because he couldn't carry both of them.
Right.
And when he got ready to go back and told him, I'm going to go get this guy, I'll be right back, they told him, no, you're not. You can't leave. You can't go up there, and if you do, you'll be arrested. Well, the guy left. He loaded his son. The pilot had his son. He took him, and they went back, and they actually landed at the people's house again, but he had to tell the guy, I can't get you. I can't pick you up. And he actually had to leave the guy there. And so the guy ended up getting rescued, but the Lake Lure Fire and Rescue and the out-of-state units actually had to go get him, and they had to cross a river, and it was all a lot of unnecessary rescue stuff that went on.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. I mean, I don't know the guy the assistant fire chief that made the decision, but it's unfortunate. I'm sure he regrets it more than anybody. I would hope that he regrets the decision that he made in that moment more than anyone. Steve, I'm desperately short on time. But I need you to get your information out because so many people need it. They want to know where your church is in Hendersonville so they can give to your church, so they can funnel that over to you, and then give out your Venmo again because I trust Steve Antell. I trust that he's doing God's work right now. He's an angel among us, and I know you wouldn't say that, Steve, but I will. So we need to get money as close to the ground as we possibly can. So give out your information, Steve.
The Venmo is at Steve, STEVE, hyphen, or dash mark, Antell, A-N as in November, T as in Tom, L as in Lincoln, E as in Edward. That's Steve hyphen Antell. I don't remember what picture, it's got me, it's a picture of me from San Diego, so I got the ocean behind me. The church is Fellowship Baptist Church in Hendersonville, North Carolina. It's 2231 Howard Gap Road, Hendersonville, North Carolina. And I will go ahead. Please don't blow my phone up, but I will give my phone number out if you need something immediate. 619-902-1860. But again, only call me if it's dire and it's specific and it's something that I can answer because I got a lot of other people I'm having to communicate with. I just, I can't thank you enough. When this started, I didn't really know what niche I was going to fall into. I just knew that I wanted to do something. And I was so upset and desperate that day.
I'm so glad I feel blessed you called me. I feel blessed you called me. So, Steve,
I've listened to you since the beginning. Since you came to Nashville. So,
well, can you and I talk? Are you in a communication place every day? I mean, are you in a place where there's cell service every day? I mean, I would just like to get an update on a daily basis, if that's not too much to ask of you.
I'm in and out of cell service, but I will call your other number that I have, and I will give you an update.
Just text or call me. Yeah.
You can follow my Facebook because I post every single day on what we're doing.
And we're trying to repost that as much as we possibly can. But Steve, God bless you, and just hug on your friends and neighbors and tell them we're loving on them from Nashville. Okay.
Thank you so much,
yes,
Matt.
Sir.
I appreciate all your help. There's no words that can express it.
Thank you. I'm not doing anything. Steve Antell is doing the God's work. That is an angel living among us, and he is taking his experience as a law enforcement man in Nashville and utilizing that experience to help people in the affected zone.